So this is our step 1 on static bridge poses from Convict Conditioning 2. And so before we get to the short bridge, I just wanted to do some really neat exercise that open up the groin. So there's a few different places I want you to look at when doing a back bend. Look at the flexibility of your quads and groin, flexibility of lower back, flexibility of your shoulders, and flexibility of your wrists. You can have a really flexible lower back, and if your wrist is not flexible, then your hand has a hard time grounding on the floor. If your groins are not flexible, you have a hard time creating that nice arc. So today we're just going to do a couple of groin stretches, okay? So what you want to do is get some yoga blocks or blocks in general, and I think we've done this in other videos, and you bring it underneath, let's say, the left buttock, and then you bring the opposite foot in like so. Now, if you don't feel that you'll be lopsided, then you could take out the block altogether. But as you see with me, my quads are a little bit big and I'm a little bit tight, so you have this lopsided feeling, and that's why you have the blocks. If you're not lopsided, keep the block in and you can just stay here. Now, be mindful of your knee joint. If your knee joint is in a safe position, you bring the foot a little bit outward and the knee a little bit inward, and you could practice just going back a little bit, and this will stretch out this area. Now, for the sake of the video, I'm only going to stay here maybe 5-10 seconds as I talk to you, but normally I stay here about a minute to a minute and a half, really stretch and warm up this area, right? Once you're done, you come out, you bring the feet together, and you bring the block to the opposite leg. So same thing applies opposite side. If you don't need the block because you're not lopsided, then don't use the block. But if you are lopsided, don't be stubborn. Take a block, put it there. You have nothing to prove. You're better off having nice posture and really getting a nice warm-up than just kind of feeling all ugly, yeah? So back into it a bit, just like so, and really stretch out that quad and groin, right? So that's it for this one. So the next exercise, what you want to do is gently bring one of the legs up the wall and lower down. Try and have the calf and knee completely pushing on the wall, and bring the opposite leg at a 90-degree angle. So if this torques any of your joints in the ankle or the knee, you come out. If not, gently start stretching out the groin and quad and feel where you're at. Some of you may actually just be here because it hurts so much. Some of you may have your hands on your chest and straighten out your upper body completely. I'm not that flexible. So again, just to have a couple of ideas, this will really help with your first step, the short bridge, right? Then you come out, you glide the opposite foot up, lower down, bring the foot front, and again, look forward, keep the right foot at 90 degrees, and come up as needed. Don't torque yourself up, you will tear the quadricep muscles. Just get a nice little stretch. And so for the video, I'm doing it fast, but in your real practice, try and take about 45 seconds to a minute and a half to really warm it up. I thought before we start the short bridge, I'd add another little stretch. This is not for the quads and hamstring though. This is actually just for the shoulders. Very easy. And also it's a nice therapeutic shoulder warm-up if you have problems with your shoulders. So do is you bring your arms up the wall and you try and put your head onto the wall gently, right? You could even create a nice arc in the lower back. This will start warming up the lower back, or you could keep the pelvis and back neutral. What's important is mainly the shoulders. But if you want to stretch out the lower back, you could kind of have like a Brazilian buoy type thing happening, and continue walking your hands up the wall. Do this 45 seconds to a minute and a half as according, and that's it. So, convict short bridges. I don't know what school of thought you guys are training in, but let's say in Iyengar yoga or in Ashtanga yoga, whenever you do bridges, we learn to keep the legs in internal rotation. Of course, this prevents you from going as deep, but it protects the sacrum and protects the knees, right? So I'll show you what I mean. So legs not out like this, no Charlie Chaplin stuff. More toes, ankles, and knees in alignment. So I'll show you the front version and then the side version. So as you can see, my feet are gonna be like this, in alignment with my knees and my hips, and not like this, okay? So there is external rotation poses in yoga, but in back bends, they try and avoid it generally. So then you plant the hands, and you do a static short bridge. You bring the ankles towards the buttocks, and you lift. Now that the quads and groins are nice and warm, it's really easy. You can stay here with your fingers pointed at the ceiling, or bring the hands and thumbs underneath the kidneys. Side version. So again, knees towards each other, hands underneath the kidneys, look up. If you're having a hard time with this internal rotation dealie, what you can do is practice the pose with a block between your legs, which will actually engage the inner leg and force you to keep the legs inward instead of outward. And so there you go. Boom. Guys, I hope this little tutorial is helpful. I'm going to post the other 4 videos in a little bit, and namaste.